It has been a summer of change for Liverpool, with new faces and now a new captain. But some continuity today as they play their second successive game at the National Stadium in Singapore. It is, however, likely to be the toughest test of this pre-season campaign. The opposition this lunchtime are the German champions Bayern Munich. It's a 12:30 kickoff, and as ever, LFC TV and LFC TV Go are the only places where you can watch all of Liverpool's pre-season fixtures live. Welcome along to Matchday Live. Gary Gillespie and Natasha Dowie are my guests in the studio today. Welcome along, folks. Good to have you here. Yeah, the penultimate game of this pre-season run, Gary. But as I said in the intro, probably the toughest test we have faced and will face.
Well, let's face it, the two juggernauts of European football, aren't they? Like, absolutely two massive clubs. I know it's pre-season, but it's probably an indicator more where Liverpool are at this stage of the pre-season, working obviously towards that first game against Chelsea. And it'll be interesting to see what the team lineup is. It'll be interesting as well to see how many minutes under the belt they get. They've only had 45 minutes in all the games so far. You would expect, if it goes in past pre-seasons, that Jurgen might give them a little bit longer and might see like a different format as opposed to getting changed at half-time. I think the team that starts probably maybe play an hour and then maybe let the changes all happen. Yeah,
that's tended to be the formula he's worked to in previous pre-seasons. From a player's point of view, do you like to have your workload sort of increase, the tests increase as you get closer to the competitive fixes? Is that a better way of working?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that tends to be the case. You get your 30 minutes, you build up to 45, 60, and then your 90 minutes. And as a player, you want to feel going into the season that you've got a good 90 minutes under your belt or as close to that. So I think a lot of the starting 11 that will start the season against Chelsea, he'll want to get as many minutes into them today as possible.
I suppose it's about striking a balance as well. You don't want to be undercooked or overcooked come the competitive fixes. It's about striking that balance, Gary, and getting the right amount of work into the legs.
Yeah, I think when you look back on pre-seasons that Jurgen normally has, I mean, he normally likes to play an awful lot of games. I think we've seen in the past that they've had some like 8 or 9 pre-season games. He's not had that luxury, obviously, this pre-season. He's only got one left after this. So it might be the case where they go into the game against Chelsea, where a lot of the team that starts against Chelsea maybe not have played 90 minutes. So I think one level of criticism maybe being levelled at Liverpool's coaching tactics is maybe they've gone in a little bit overcooked at the beginning of the season, hence the reason maybe why sometimes come December, January we look a little bit leggy, a little bit fatigued. Maybe it's a case that they've maybe just drawn back a little bit in the intensity in pre-season this year, and we'll have to see how it works. You look at Manchester City. Manchester City play very few games and look very, like, I wouldn't say sluggish at the beginning of the season, but you know, their strength always seems to come at the back end of the season, where ultimately that really is where it counts.
That was exactly the point I was going to make. I could see on the same wavelength there. And I guess the other part of it is you now got extra subs within the Premier League, so the manager has an option to give players more time in the opening game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think as well the style of the way Liverpool play. You know, Jurgen Klopp demands a lot from the players. You know, it's all about pressing, counter-pressing. So I think Gary's point is really key, is that they want to be fresh coming into the season because it is the demands throughout the season. It's higher than most teams, and he demands that from everyone. It's different to a Man City style of play where it's possession-based, probably don't demand as much defensively as what Liverpool do. So I think that's another pointer that a lot of other teams, you know, don't have to factor in.
OK, more from the guys in the studio to come throughout this show. But as ever, we have travelled with the team over to Singapore, and our man on the ground there is Rob Jones.
Very good evening to you. Welcome to the National Stadium for pre-season game number 4 for Liverpool, where Jurgen Klopp makes 4 changes from the team that scored 4 here on Sunday against Championship side Leicester City to take on the reigning German champions Bayern Munich. One of them comes in goal. Alisson was a second-half substitute against Leicester. He starts. The one change in the back 4 sees Joel Matip replace Ibrahima Konate, so it's Alexander-Arnold, Matip, the new captain Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson. A very exciting midfield 3. Curtis Jones still in that deep-lying number 6 position, alongside the 2 summer signings, Alexis McAllister and Dominic Szoboszlai, with a front 3 of Mo Salah, Cody Gakpo and Diogo Jota. Lucas Leiva is alongside me. I guess we're hoping for a significant improvement tonight, because Liverpool will need it given who they're playing against.
Of course, it's a good game, a good test for the team. Of course, you have to do more to win the game. You know, of course, the Leicester game was very positive, but we start quite slow. So we just hope that we're gonna start better, and let's see this with the 4 changes how the team will play.
I guess one of the big differences in how this team might play to the other is Darwin Núñez is looking to go one way, whereas Cody Gakpo is a little more comfortable coming the other.
Yeah, I think the reason why Gakpo probably is playing is to drop it in, make the extra play in midfield, you know, giving the chance to Mo and Jota run in the space. So we don't know, but we just hope that Gakpo, you know, can add that quality midfield as well when he needs to drop and then attack the space when he feels that there is a space there.
But it was a conversation actually that myself, you and Martin Skirtle were having yesterday about how difficult it is when someone sort of drifts in between the lines, whether someone like you would pick him up or someone like Martin as a defender would do it.
Yeah, it just causes a doubt. You know, the defenders don't know if they follow the strike, he open the space for the likes of Mo and Jota. So it will be very interesting to see how the team will adapt. Of course, McAllister likes to play in that half space. So we are all excited to see a fantastic game.
Excited to see the midfield as well, with the 2 new boys alongside Curtis in that deeper role once again.
Yeah, like I said, Curtis, I think he's trying to get as many information as he can to play that role. It will be very important, Matip and Virgil, you know, with the communication to keep him in position, because he's a player that he used to get in the box. So, and of course, Szoboszlai, after playing 30 minutes, I think he's ready to start.
Talking of Virgil van Dijk, his first match day on the job as the new Liverpool captain. What a huge honour for him, and perhaps no real surprise he's the man to replace Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, it was the player we were expecting, you know, to be the captain. Of course, it's a big step, you know, a good responsibility to have, and he has shown he's the captain of Holland, so he has the experience, he has the leadership, and like I said before, you need more leaders, and for sure there are 3 or 4 players that will help him along the way.
And that was the interesting point actually that Jurgen was making, talking about the leadership group, that guys like Mo Salah, Alisson offer you very different things.
Yeah, like I said, you need all the type of leaderships. You know, there are players that are more quiet. You know, they like to work on a 1v1, you know, 1-to-1. And Virgil is very vocal. So, like I said, he needs help. And for sure, Alisson, Trent, Mo Salah, you know, Robertson, he's the captain of Scotland, will help him. Will help the team to go to this new journey, let's say.
Lucas, thank you very much indeed. Lucas will be back with us post-match. Next up, we will talk Bayern Munich with Martin Skirtle very shortly.
Thank you, Rob. Yeah, well, with last week's departure of the club captain, Jurgen Klopp had a decision to make. It probably wasn't too hard for the boss. The armband was really only going to go to one player.
It's a very proud moment. It's in some ways a bit surreal from where I come from to be captain of Holland, and Liverpool Football Club is something I would have never dreamed about, so it's a very proud moment for myself. We lost our captain and our vice-captain over the summer, and it's a change that, you know, players have to adapt to, and including myself. Obviously, having now the role as team captain is something I really look forward to, but it also means that I will have more responsibility than I had before. It means for the rest of the team as well. I think, you know, a lot of players will have to step up and feel that responsibility of leading the team as well. Happy for Trent. He has to step up. He's the vice-captain now, and I think he will definitely look forward to it as well. Feel the responsibility, feel the importance, and like the rest of the leadership group, we have to be a very strong team off the pitch and to be successful on the pitch as well. And now it's time to get to work. We definitely have to make things right this season. Last season have been very, very disappointed for all of us, but we will step up. We'll have to make sure that we find the consistency again that we had over the last couple of years, and we're going to make sure that we do everything in our power to get there. And we have the players, we have the quality, we have everything. But as easy as it sounds, it's not that easy, of course. We have to go for it, and we need everyone to be at their best. Obviously the players who are on the pitch, but the fans as well. And I'm very confident in this case that could be, if everyone is on it, a very special season. So let's give it a try and let's go for it.
Virgil had captained Liverpool 43 times previously before getting the armband on a full-time basis. Was he the smart choice, the obvious choice, Gary, then, as was alluded to?
Well, I think if you were betting on somebody to be like a Liverpool captain when Jordan Henderson went, I think he would have been pretty odds-on favourite, wouldn't he? So no surprise for me. I think the captaincy role, certainly from my days, has changed totally. Is far more involved, probably off the field, than maybe what is actually on the field. But you know, he's a big, imposing figure. He's been a key figure for Liverpool over the number of years. So I think it was inevitable that he would get the job. I think the fact that Trent's got like the vice captain job is a little bit, I wouldn't say more controversial, but I think there would have been other candidates for that, maybe Mohamed Salah, certainly Andrew Robertson in my respect, from my point of view. But a local lad that's obviously he's done well and coming at the side, a regular part of the setup. So it'll be interesting to see how they combine. But certainly from a captain's point of view, the role has changed dramatically now. I think when you look at how good Jordan Henderson was, it wasn't just on the field, it was very much off the field as well, to get that team bonding together. And I think, you know, that's where I think, I'm not saying like Virgil will struggle, but I think he's more a captain on the field than what I think than like off the field.
Yeah, I guess that's part of it. Is it the modern day role the captain has shifted slightly? There's the media responsibilities. For a start, you have to front up a lot, often when things aren't going well. There's also things that can come up through a season. We saw what happened with COVID. Now, that's an extreme example, but in moments like that, it's the captains who are at the forefront of things, and Virgil needs to take on that responsibility now.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance between the two of them. Virgil has the experience of captaining the Netherlands, and you know he's used to that role. And I think with Trent, I've been lucky enough recently to actually be working at the academy with the U18s and to be able to see firsthand what it's like for these players to come through the academy and to make the first team. You know, I think that's where Trent then's probably going to have more of a role within the group, you know, and that personality that he's had, he's well thought of. So yeah, I think it's a really good balance to have Virgil as, you know, the one, like you said, that leads on the pitch, leads by example, and then Trent, who's probably more of a people person as well.
Yeah, good record so far in his captaincy moments. Virgil van Dijk over 76% win percentage, that's pretty decent. In terms of that balance then, Trent, is that sort of preparing the ground for the future as well? You know, is Trent the long-term success? Now, he has the opportunity to be the long-term successor if he chooses to take it.
Well, 100%. I think that's probably in the thinking and the writing behind him getting the vice captain's job. I think when you look at
this is when he was told.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment.
Well, do we know that for a fact?
I'm led to believe.
All right, okay then. Yeah, I'm going to make you vice captain.
Yeah.
I'm not 100%. I'm not buying into that 100%.
You're so cynical in these days.
Well, I mean, why would he tell him in the middle of a pitch?
Well, why would he not?
Well, I don't know. But
of all the things I thought you were going to disagree with, I didn't think that was it.
Right, well, okay. I mean, well, it's a fantastic honour for like Trent, but it does pave the way for him. I mean, listen, let's hope that Virgil van Dijk's at the football club for like quite a lengthy period. So, you know, but like I think Trent, ideally, you can see the progression he's made coming through from the academy into like the starting 11, and then now he's obviously a permanent fixture, and a big permanent fixture within like the starting 11. So, you know, we look forward to him actually taking the job, and I think he'll do an exceptional job at that.
As Rob explained a few moments ago, both the captain and vice captain start today's game against Bayern Munich. Is this team, Natasha, perhaps close to what we will see at Stamford Bridge on the opening weekend?
It's a really exciting 11, isn't it? I'm really excited to see McAllister and Szoboszlai start together in that midfield three. Obviously with Jones Holding, who's had a terrific summer with the 21s, and he deserves that start. I think he finished the season really strongly. I think for me as well, the front three, I love that. Jota, his goal to ratio is unbelievable, he really is. And Gakpo, I love his work rate off the ball, but he can also score goals. I think Salah, we know his stats are incredible. You know, every year he produces, he performs. I probably would like Konate with Van Dijk, personally, my opinion. I think that's a stronger centre half, but Matip as well, he's a capable player. And with Trent obviously drifting into that midfield, he's going to have to be aware of that and make sure he covers him today. But yeah, I think it's going to be very close about. You know, Nunes is hard to miss out here with his goal scoring ratio in pre-season. He's done great, but Jurgen has made it clear that he won't be starting in this team through his goals. It will be his work rate off the ball, which, you know, is what this Liverpool team is based on. You know, they're pressing, like I said earlier.
Yeah, all eyes, I guess, will be drawn, in the first instance anyway, to the midfield to see how it lines up, the positions they take and the balance it displays, especially given the fact that the Premier League kick-off is so close to happening.
Well, it's interesting the fact that this is the first time they've started together, isn't it? Szoboszlai and McAllister. I think it's going to be interesting to see where the balance lies there, whether they play as like an 8 and a 10, with Curtis playing as that holding midfield player, obviously with like Trent moving in there to join him, and more often than not when Liverpool certainly have possession. The guys picked up on it, like in the interview there with Lucas and Rob, that the fact that Gakpo, he does like to come a little bit deeper, so a different kind of like formation as opposed to when you're playing with Darwin Núñez, who his strength is obviously running in behind the pace that he has. So it'll be interesting to see how Gakpo and McAllister, because McAllister likes to play in that little 10 position, how they kind of like link up together, whether they maybe get in each other's way or not. But I think, I mean, I say often enough, there's not a plan B, but when you look at like Liverpool's squad at this moment in time, there could be a plan B, because like if you take Gakpo out the side and put a Darwin Núñez in, the kind of like formation kind of changes a little bit, the pattern of play changes a little bit as well, because you've got to have Darwin Núñez looking beyond the back four, as where Gakpo wants the ball into feet. So I think that like gives the manager a different option, whether it's a right different option, or time will tell.
Okay, well, we can head back over to join Rob once again now, who's now with Curtis Jones.
Well, welcome back out to pretty much the middle of the pitch here at the National Stadium, where this fellow will be operating today. Curtis Jones alongside the two new boys. Slightly deeper role though for you against Leicester. Enjoy it?
Yeah, of course I do. I'm just a kid who wants to go and play. You know, if I'm coming on the pitch as a centre half or a striker or anything like that, I'll go out there and like I'll try the same things. But yeah, you know, I'm playing there in a deeper role, but it's kind of the same. You know, it's a chance for me to get on the ball and just try a different place on the pitch. So yeah, it's all good.
And as I mentioned, you're playing alongside both Alexis and Dom in the first half.
What players, by the way?
What players? Well, I was going to say, what do you make of them so far? Maybe just tell me a bit more than what players.
You know, it's as easy as that. You know, just they're unbelievable, and they came in. You know, they've adapted well. They're a big part of the team. And you know, you've got Dom there. You know, the energy is you know, it's mad. You'll go and press, you'll run, you'll get on the ball. He's calm, and then Mackett, of course, you know, we've seen a lot in the Prem. He's one of the best on the ball, and you know, he's always on here at half-10. He's trying to find a pass. So yeah, it's good to be alongside of them too.
Go and enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, on face value, he's the only one of the three midfielders who started the final game of last season at Southampton who's still at the club, so he's in the box seat to play the opening game of this season. But does he deserve it on his performances, both in pre-season at the moment and what he did at the back end of the last campaign? Absolutely,
in my opinion, yes. I think he's a great character, isn't he? And he's Liverpool through and through. I think his personality's great, but the way he plays on the pitch, he plays with such maturity. And I think he's going to have a lot more pressure on him this year to play within his years. But I think the summer that he's had, he's full of confidence now. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how he kicks on again this season.
Yeah, he took on responsibility with England during the Euros, a pivotal player playing in that central midfield role, and he seems to have matured. Hearing him speak then, hearing him speak a couple of games ago, he seems to have aged up here a little bit in a short space of time recently.
Yeah, I think the one big thing, like when young players come into the starting 11, and listen, he's been there for quite a few years now. It's having that belief that you belong in that kind of setup, and that's what he's got to have. He's got to have that belief that he belongs there. I think we saw that towards the end of the last season, his performances, and certainly, as Tash says, the fact that he's like gone in the summer and played exceptionally well for England will do him no harm whatsoever, and I think big season for him.
Yeah, he probably thought maybe at one stage last season, maybe the opportunity's gone, maybe I'm not in the manager's plans. He got an opportunity through the team faltering, so the people being absent, then ends it with, 11 straight starts and a really pivotal contribution. So now he's probably thinking, you know what, I've got the confidence to show I can be involved here.
Yeah, and I think the hard thing is as well is to find form so quickly after being injured, and I think that's what he did terrifically well towards the end of last season, to come back and then hit the ground running pretty much as soon as he got minutes and got that opportunity. I think is hard, especially at this level at a club like Liverpool where you don't often get second chances. And I don't think he's a player that's short on confidence, which I think is really important as well. You have to have that confidence and a little bit of arrogance about you to be in this starting 11 and to be performing with these players that play internationally worldwide.
Yeah, and necessity can be the mother of invention. You know, players have moved on. Players who play the deeper role in midfield have moved on. If he can continue to play well in that position, it maybe solves a problem for the manager.
Yeah, well, I think if you look at Curtis Jones, he's probably played every position along there, and even probably a wide left,
and a few more,
and a few more as well. So, you know, injury has been cruel to him. Let's keep our fingers crossed that he stays clear of injury and then has a really good run. And if he has a really good run on the side, who's to say that he's not your starting number 6 for the rest of the season?
But as we alluded to earlier, it's about the balance in that midfield. It's about the relationship in there as well. The players need to know how to play with each other. Who will stick, who will go and make that run forward, and when, and how they cover for each other. Those are the things that need to be eked out in these games.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I was talking about Jones having a bit more responsibility to be that holding role, because I think that's obviously what Jurgen is going to be wanting from him. I can see McAllister being in that 10 role just behind Gakpo and having that relationship with him, and Szoboszlai having that energy and work rate, you know, that real box to box like Steven Gerrard used to be. So I think that's the maturity as that number 6 role is so important, because Jones is someone that has loads of energy. You know, he can play higher up the pitch. We've seen him play wide, and that's what he's known for. But he's got to protect that back four, and I think that's going to be really key. And hopefully, that's where he'll mature as a player this season.
Yeah, real test from against quality opposition today. OK, well, the first outing over in Singapore. So Liverpool comfortable winners over Leicester City. We expected quite a test from the Championship side, but apart from the first, 20 minutes or so, what we got was some, pretty flat foxes. And the Reds were in, cruise control.
Virgil van Dijk leads Liverpool out in Singapore for Standard Chartered Asia Trophy. That's McAteer, it breaks from Daka, and the forward ball, what a save that is by Quiveen Kelleher. Top stop by the Irishman, as Ndidi ran through on goal. That's a lovely little thread for McAllister. Diogo Jota, and he's gone for goal. Hermansen saves, but it won't keep out Darwin Nunez, who can't stop scoring in pre-season for Liverpool. That, in terms of what he's done so far, was an absolute gift. Alexander-Arnold, it's a lovely ball, isn't it? And it's on to Salah here, and the tee up, yes, Bobby Clark for Liverpool. Lovely goal, that's a lovely moment for Bobby Clark, it's a really good finish. Salah, beautiful, absolutely brilliant from Liverpool. Salah's ball is absolutely delicious, and Diogo Jota, as we know, is as good in the air as anybody. It's Doak. Elliott runs as a decoy, and the strike! It's only a whisker away from McConnell. Dominic Szoboszlai's won the ball, and he's gone for goal! And Hermansen just about keeps it out. Again, Szoboszlai will take the corner. Oh, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. On by Matip, and Ben Doak at the far post manages to crane his neck and turn it home. Nice from Tsimikas. Gakpo. It's a good save by Hermansen. It's been an outstanding performance from Jurgen Klopp's men. Liverpool 4, Leicester City 0.
Yeah, more goals for Liverpool during this pre-season run. That's 12 in total, averaging 4 a game. As a forward player, did you like to get goals in pre-season? Did you get a better feeling starting the season knowing you'd hit the back of the net a few times? Oh,
it's so key. It really is. As a centre forward, scoring goals is so important, and consistently as well. And I think leading into the season, you want to have some goals under your belt. It really does breed confidence. And the great thing about this Liverpool team right now is everyone's scoring. So that's really good. It's really important. Nunez in particular. has been in great scoring form, but the likes of Jota as well has got on the score sheet. Some of the younger kids coming through as well have. And I think that's important because you want to share the goals out. You don't want to rely on someone really heavily. And I think this is where this team is so strong. Diaz as well has come on and scored. Everyone's getting involved, and I think that's really exciting leading into the season.
Yeah, that was the big strength of Liverpool for so many seasons when we had that front three who shared the goal load between them, albeit I know Sadio and Mo scored slightly more than Bobby, but the three of them contributed so much. If we can get back to a similar state of play this season, Gary, then it just means that there's so much more for Liverpool to potentially do in all those competitions that they're in.
Yeah, I think it was unfortunate last season, obviously, because we lost Jota and Diaz through injury for long spells of that campaign. So I think that had a mitigating factor on how we played and how we finished. So yeah, I mean, scoring goals in pre-season from a striker's point of view, I would reckon that's key for them. Gives them the confidence, gives them the belief. And when you look at the three that are up there, they do have different options because they've still got Diaz to come, they've still got Darwin Núñez to come in as well. The one person that hasn't really been prolific goal scoring is Mohamed Salah. But we're like, well, you just look at his stats over the last 5 years and we kind of reckon and understand that he's going to score goals throughout the course of this campaign.
I guess the challenge through the course of the season will be finding the right balance, the right mix for the right occasion.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't think goal scoring has ever been really a problem for this Liverpool team. For me, I'd much prefer to see us focusing on clean sheets. We know we've got goal scorers and players that can win games in this team. But today, I think, and leading into the season, we know that defensively as a team, it wasn't good enough last year. So I'd much prefer us to focus on keeping clean sheets because I'm confident that with the players that we've got, goals will come easily.
It was interesting actually because the first 15-20 minutes of that game, Leicester could have easily scored at least 2 goals. The opportunities where we looked a little bit vulnerable again. When we don't get the counter pressing right, we allow teams to break onto what it is really a back three now, and that leaves us a little bit exposed at times, and it did for the first 15-20 minutes of the game. Against better opposition, we could have been punished. And if you're losing 2 goals in the first 15-20 minutes, as we saw last season, it's a heck of a way back.
Do you get a sense, though, Gary, that we might still be a bit like the first incarnation of Jurgen's Liverpool, where we were offensive, attacking, but we gave up opportunities? Before the one that won the league, which tightened things up, we might be like that first version A.
Well, it possibly will be the case. I think you just got to look to your midfield trio, and then you think we're talking about Curtis Jones coming in as a number 6. Hasn't really played there on a regular basis. We've got Szoboszlai, who we don't really know too much about, and certainly McAllister. From what I've seen so far, his best positions are in forward areas of the pitch where he's playing in that little number 10 role. So it's a totally different midfield to having the likes of James Milner, Gini Wijnaldum and Jordan Henderson, where that was the industry was there, the intensity was there. So it'll be interesting to see how we cope with that throughout the course of the season.
And of course, interesting to see if Jurgen adds any more new faces to that midfield area. Okay, time now to get all the details on today's opponents, Bayern Munich. Let's head back over to pitchside in Singapore to Rob Jones, who's got the lowdown on the German champions. Rob.
Thanks very much. Welcome back. It is pre-season game number 4 for Liverpool and also for Bayern Munich, in action for the first time since Saturday when they won 1-0 in Japan against Kawasaki, and just one change made by Thomas Tuchel from that team. That's that Mazraoui drops out of the side and is replaced by Dayot Upamecano. So the Bayern team in full, then Jan Sommer will keep goal. Benjamin Pavard will move to right back, with Upamecano partnering summer signing Min-Jae Kim at the centre of defence. Alphonso Davies is the left back. The 2 holding midfielders, Joshua Kimmich and another summer signing, Konrad Laimer, with Leroy Sané, Serge Gnabry and Jamal Musiala supporting Matthias Tell up front. The former Liverpool defender Martin Skrtel is alongside me. Just reeling those names off, it's a proper test tonight for Liverpool.
Yeah, it is. As we can see, the Bayern team is they having the strong side, So it's gonna be good test, good game. But as we said and as we mentioned before, this kind of games we could also name like the Champions League final, because Liverpool as a team, very strong team, the same Bayern Munich. So I think it's gonna be good, not only for the teams but also for the fans, because you see that kind of game here, it's something maybe never happen again.
Let's talk about one name not on that team sheet, and in fact one person who's not a Bayern Munich player anymore, Sadio Mane, who left yesterday for Saudi Arabia, with Thomas Tuchel saying, it's my fault, it didn't quite work out, and it just never did quite work out, did it?
Yeah, you know, obviously there was big expectation from this transfer when Saido went to Bayern Munich, but obviously it didn't work. For some reason, we don't really know why, but yeah, they decide to let him go to Saudi, and in my point of view, you know, if the player is not happy or it's not working for him in the club, then it's normal thing that he's thinking about to leave the club.
And I guess there's a lot of talk as well back home about whether they might find another centre forward from somewhere, and whether that man might be Harry Kane.
Yeah, you know, obviously Harry Kane is one of the best strikers, best number 9 of the world, and he's showing that for many years. So I think it's a normal thing that the team as a Bayern, they try to sign the big player as a him. So we will see if he end up there or not. Maybe if he'll do, it's gonna be good for us, because then, you know, I think it's gonna be good, very big loss for Tottenham.
The one player they have invested in heavily this summer is Min-jae Kim, the South Korean centre-half. You top-class centre-backs are hard to find and expensive as well.
Yeah, you know, this guy I know from Fenerbahce, when he used to play there, and from there he moved to Napoli, and he's a very good player. I think we can see that this evening he's very strong, he's fast and comfortable with the ball, so I think it's a very good sign for Bayern Munich. And yeah, as I said before, in Fenerbahce he was a massive part of the club. Then he went to Napoli, and yeah, I think they have a very strong side, especially in the middle with Upamecano. So yeah, it's gonna be good test for our strikers.
You mentioned it is 2 world-class clubs, it is 2 world-class managers as well. Jurgen Klopp against Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, I think they know each other very well, and we know that Tuchel was following Jurgen from Mainz to Dortmund. And then obviously he was in Chelsea, and now he ended up in Bayern Munich. So it's gonna be also good, you know, like this confrontation between them two. Also, is a big prestige for them, you know. It's the ball from Germany. I think they must be the friends probably, and yeah, I think it's something also we can look forward to this game.
Martin, thank you very much. We've really enjoyed your company this week. Safe journey home. Quick reminder in terms of Klopp against Tuchel 2 seasons ago, Liverpool met Chelsea 4 times. All 4 games ended in draws, but of course Liverpool walked away with 2 trophies.
Thank you, Robbie. I still can't be the only person who gets confused by Martin Skirtle having hair. All those years, you thought he was bald. Look at it. Anyway, that's the Bayern lineup for today for you. We're going to head back over now to Rob, who's now been speaking to the Reds boss, Jurgen Klopp.
Thank you very much indeed. Jurgen is alongside me for pre-season game number 4. What are the big differences you would want to see from pre-season game number 1 to tonight?
Well, from a completely different opponent. It's Bayern Munich. We just have to go through the squad. I didn't see the lineup yet, but we have just to go through the squad. You know, that's a proper game today. You don't have to see it as a pre-season friend. It's a proper game. Always what you get from games like this, you get information. You have to work with both good and bad. Good things you want to see and things you don't want to see, but see anyway. So I'm really excited about the fact that the opponent is so strong. How will we react? So that's really important, and that's actually what I want to see, the real reaction on that. All the things we saw in training are really good. We invest a lot of time, especially in technical stuff, since we are here because of the weather and everything. The physical intensity in training cannot be that high. But we put a lot of effort in that department in Germany, and we'll do that when we come back to England again. But the technical aspect was really a lot here, and so I would like to see that we understood. That would be really helpful.
A lot of quality in that midfield area. Going to be exciting to see Alexis and Dom together tonight, and Curtis back in that 6th position.
Yeah. We spoke about that with the team. So if now we can name him. If this team, how it's now lined up, is a lot of offensive, natural skill set on the pitch. If they don't defend, then we are screwed anyway. So that's how it is. And in Fabinho as an example, his absolute best day in the Liverpool time, in this team alone on a 6, and the others don't are not bothered. No chance. So we have to work together. We have to be compact. We have to do all the dirty work as well. If we do that, we can be really good. And I'm convinced the boys want to do that. Dom showed this every single second in training. Maka is a really smart player and is buying into that as well. Front line, they will do, we all know that. So they will help Curtis, but then Curtis is immediately a real nice thing to have in possession because of his football skills. So let's see how it goes, but we are very positive about it, and it's not an experiment or whatever. It's something what is possible for us, definitely. But of course, you need to show in the real tests how good you are already in it, and that's we can talk about it after the game.
You mentioned the opponent. You probably more than most are still trying to work out how they won the league on that last day of the season, pipped Dortmund to the post. But they're making changes as well over the course of the summer. But what doesn't change is they're packed with world-class players.
Yeah, definitely. So, yes, Bayern is not finished yet. I think with the transfer business, everybody knows about the Kane situation, other stuff. But incredibly strong squad, though, that's clear. Thomas Tuchel, world-class manager. So, yeah, they will play a good role in German football. I think that's pretty clear. And there will be a threat in Europe as well. So that's it. But for today, we would have played each top team in the world, let me say like that. Now Bayern is here. Good. Let's go for it. Let's play it. Let's talk afterwards about it.
We'll see you afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we'll get to Bayern in just a second, but Natasha, it's interesting to see what Jurgen said sort of through that interview. To a degree, today for him is still about, well, seeing where his players are at, first and foremost, against a better quality of opposition. He doesn't yet know, you don't know as a coach, but also on how some of those little tweaks work or some of those things they're trying, like Curtis Hicks, work.
Yeah, it's not going to be perfection yet. And, you know, football, it never is perfect, but I think it is about the principles that they've been working on in training, you know, and he'll want to see that as a coach and a manager, you know, partnerships developing, you know, things, like I said, that they've got in this game plan heading against Bayern Munich. So I think that's the most important thing. He's not expecting perfection, but as long as the players are trying to implement the right things, I think that's the most important thing.
On Bayern, I've noticed in recent seasons they like to start their pre-season games by absolutely battering someone. Every season, the team they first played gets absolutely done. They played Rottach Eggen this season. They won 27-0. It was 18-0 at half-time, so Eggen did well second half to keep it tight. Yeah. Do you get anything from that, or do you get more from games like this?
What was the team talk at half-time, you think?
That's it. We can win this half.
Well, to be honest with you, I think you get more from games like this. Even though it's still pre-season, it's in a foreign country. But I still think, you know, as I said before, like in the build-up, when you look at these two teams, every time that you look at European football, you're talking about Bayern Munich or you're talking about Liverpool Football Club. So they are massive, and this will be a good test for Bayern just as much as it'll be a good test for Liverpool.
Yeah, you look at their team, top quality players, couple of new additions in there. Kim is the one that stands out, given he has just won the Scudetto in Serie A and instantly been snapped up, one of the fabulous talents. Yeah, imagine winning the league over in Italy and then potentially having the opportunity to win trophies again at Bayern Munich. And it's a really exciting 11 as well as his Liverpool's. You know, I really like Davis as well, the Canadian left back, full of energy, pace. You know, he'll be supplying a lot of deliveries, I'm sure. And if you look at the wide players as well, for me, Sane and Gnabry, them two really excite me. So obviously I'm a Liverpool fan and I'm more excited about seeing those players, but what an opposition to put yourself up against, and it's going to be a really, really, like obviously what Gary said, where Liverpool are right now, it's going to definitely show. Natasha mentioned the word pace. You've got that across that team. Those three playing behind the front man they have ability as well. And in Musiala, one of the brightest talents, could have been playing for England, of course, had he not switched allegiances. A real bright kid coming through, if you want to call him that.
Yeah, young player, big potential, big future. Sane's been there quite a wee while. Gnabry's been there quite a while as well. Interesting to the formation, they've got a 4-2-3-1. You were telling us that he's done exceptionally well in the pre-season.
Scored quite a lot in that first game.
Well, yeah, I suppose so. There's maybe a little bit false performance here. But you know, like there's big talk at Harry Kane going there. I mean, you think that with what they've got there, just now, they're going to be strong contenders for the Bundesliga. get Harry Kane, then you would expect they're nailed on again to win the Bundesliga, albeit like Dortmund might have something to say about it. But they're an exciting team. Musiala, I think, is one of these players that gets people off the seats. He's entertaining. It'll be interesting to see if he plays in that number 10 position where he can cause Liverpool problems. As I said before, Liverpool's midfield, all new to playing like the way that they're being asked to play. He could really hurt us like tonight, Musiala.
And as Gary touched upon earlier, the fact that Gakpo is playing, we just wonder whether he will drop in deeper and can become an extra body in that middle. It could become quite congested in there, depending on how players drop in and move about.
Yeah, very similar to what we've been so used to with Bobby Firmino and the style of play that he used to bring to Liverpool and allow then your Manes and your Salahs to get in behind. But also with Trent dropping into that midfield as well, it is going to be really interesting. Like you said, that's a lot of bodies then in that midfield area. So I'm fascinated to see, you know, the partnerships and how they work that midfield.
If you were Harry Kane, would you join Bayern Munich, in a word?
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
There you go. I thought you might say that.
She's a striker as well.
Well, I was going to say,
score goals, trophies. That's kind of what you want as a player,
that's the
isn't
thing.
it?
You're not going to get a better chance to score goals and win stuff
Absolutely.
pretty much anywhere other than Bayern Munich. OK, let's head back over to the Singapore National Stadium now. It's the busiest man in television today. Rob Jones is pitchside once again with another Reds favourite.
Thank you very much indeed. Welcome back to the National Stadium. John Aldridge is alongside me, and by the end of tonight, well, already, in fact, just 11 days to go till Liverpool's first Premier League game of the season at Stamford Bridge. Will tonight give us more of a gauge of what sort of shape they're in?
Yeah, I think so. You know, the Leicester game was good, that we got a clean sheet. Could have been a little bit better defensively, and you've got to finally tune things up, as Jurgen knows. But everyone's intrigued to see what he's going to do up front, isn't he? Because the 5 strikers for me are buzzing. You know, I'm looking at Mo. He's changed his game. He's coming in, and I think he's going to create a lot of chances for other ones this year with the way we play. And there's loads of the manager's got options all over the place. You know, you've got Gakpo's coming deep. You know, Nunes looks like, you know, a new player, as does Diaz. And then you've got Jota chomping at the bit. But that's the most difficult part, I think, in the back of his mind, who's going to play up front. So tonight, and the game at Preston, it's an ideal opportunity for the strikers to get goals and show the sharp in front of goal, you know, because it all comes down to getting them right for the Chelsea game and seeing who's in form for that game. And, you know, no better way of a striker than creating and obviously scoring goals.
On the point about the forwards, he also has the option to go with 4 of them and
Yes.
play Gakpo behind Nunes or Jota.
Yeah, there'd be some games where I'm sure he could do that. I think Chelsea wouldn't be the ideal one personally, but you know, there is games certainly at Anfield where you can go a little bit gung ho.
For the teams that sit really deep.
as long as the balance is there. That's for me where it's all. When Kenny and Rushy left at the same time, you know, that was the last time I've seen something like this happening. I came in earlier in the January, then Peter and Barnsley come in, and Ray Allen came in September. Like the 4 of us were thrown and we gelled like that. And the balance was brilliant, and the rest is history. Now that's what he's got to find now, not just for the midfield, but lads up front as well. He's got in his mind, because Diaz is an out-and-out winger, but he's got to get goals from there, like Sadio Mane did for us to win titles and such. You know, Gakpo will get better and score more goals. Nunes certainly will, as will Jota and Salah. But it's just getting the right balance for me. It's going to be interesting.
Good to see the 2 new boys starting in midfield tonight together.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Again, for what we've seen in the Leicester game, Leicester were poor. But look, you still got to beat them, and we did convincingly. But I did like the way McAllister got in them areas where he can feed your strikers, them little intricate through balls. And we've seen him do it for Brighton, who had a great season last year, and there's no reason why he can't do it for ourselves.
Just a final point about the occasion as a whole. Going to be nearly full tonight. You're playing one of the best teams in world football. That's got to help in the preparation for a season that this gets the juices flowing a lot more than a game behind closed doors.
Oh, absolutely. You know, it'd be like a home game, to be fair. The fans have been magnificent, you know, around the place. great place, Singapore. Lovely people, but the fans are so fervent, so passionate. It's great to see, and they'll play a part tonight. But yeah, I think you want to make sure defensively. Look, maybe because a couple of times when we did lose the ball against Leicester, it was too easy to get in behind us, and that's what you've got to stop. Because better forwards and better teams will cut you up, So I'm sure that's an area where he'll try to make sure that we're on the ball.
Thank you very much indeed. You said it was like a home game. It's also like an Ibiza weekender because the sound system is absolutely pumping here. So Aldo's going to go and meet his adoring fans, and we are getting closer and closer to kick-off here at the National Stadium.
Rob, no stranger to Ibiza weekender. Final thoughts in the studio ahead of this, the penultimate game of pre-season. I guess it's the kind of test we're going to get. We said at the top of the show, this is going to be a step up, and it is interesting to see how seriously both teams take it, but also how our players deal with that challenge.
Yeah, I think both teams are going to take it very seriously. There's no time to waste now with the season being so close. I think it's going to be a really tight game, but I think there will be goals with the amount of talent you've got in that attacking third, and I still do feel that Liverpool are a little bit susceptible to conceding goals and still look a little bit edgy in the back. So with Bayern's threat going forward as well, I do see goals for them also, but hopefully we can score more.
Yeah, as you said earlier, Gary, it'd be interesting to see if we can get that press right. Jurgen said earlier this week, because of the conditions and stuff, they've worked on a lot more tactical stuff. You want to kind of see the fruits of that labour today.
Yeah, I think that as well as like getting a few more minutes under their belt. I would expect this team to be technically gifted with the likes of McAllister playing in that little number 10 position. It's whether we can stop teams getting at us too easily. Because as I said before, like the first 15-20 minutes, Leicester got at us way too easily. Now, whether that's maybe because Trent has moved into that midfield area, and when you look at like Gnabry and like Sané and wide areas of the pitch, if Trent doesn't like get himself back into a full-back position early enough, then Bayern Munich could exploit that down that side.
Yeah, these players, the team that Bayern have got, it's the perfect test of the way Liverpool now want to play at the back, because they have got wide players with ability, with pace, who will make the most of any spaces that get left.
It's hard work for Trent. I was watching the game against Leicester, and what he can bring in that midfield role, which is really exciting, and I've enjoyed seeing the development of that role. But then when ball does get turned over, the work rate that he has to do to get back in, he's probably got the hardest role on the pitch right now. But I think with the likes of Konate, more so probably than Matip, they do have that pace that they can recover. I just think Liverpool need to take care of this ball more, because when you take care of the ball, those situations don't develop. But when you give away the ball needlessly, you're asking then a lot of players, and Trent's having to then recover. So that's the area that I still feel like needs a lot of work on, and teams will look at that. It's a big area that they can exploit, but Liverpool just need to be better defensively at helping Trent and obviously covering him to allow him to do what we know he does best.
I said it in the Leicester game. It's interesting because Manchester City totally changed it, didn't it? Kyle Walker used to do that. He used to come in from a right full-back position and play in a central area. It was noticeable very much last season that John Stones, as a centre-back, came in and filled the midfield role. So you still had your two wide players in position to, both attack that way and obviously defend that way. And as Tash rightly says, for Trent, and sometimes you see him in the left half position, way across just in front of Andrew Robertson. It's a hell of a workload for him to get back into position to defend that right back position. So interesting how Manchester City changed it with full backs as opposed, and used it as a centre back as opposed to a full back moving into the centre area. We don't have that luxury because I don't think our centre backs would be comfortable going into that position. But it's an area of the pitch where I totally agree with Natasha. Yep. You've got to get it right.
One of the other reasons maybe why we see Matip start today is to give him a chance at experiencing what it's like to be the guy who has to play 1.5 positions, because that's Ibu Konaté's role by and large at the end of the season. He might not always be available. Can Matip do a job there and cover that space as well? Yeah, we'll find out tonight. It is going to be a big challenge for him. And I think that's probably why, in an ideal world, I really want to see Trent in midfield, if I'm being completely honest. And if we can get a proper right back in that can replace him, I think that would suit Liverpool a lot more, to have a bit more of a defensive, right back, and then allow Trent to do what he does. Because when he's played in midfield, it's really excited me. And look, don't get me wrong, I still think he can do a right back role very well.
But I want to see Trent in that midfield three and then potentially have someone else in that right back role. But yeah, it's going to be one hell of a game for Matip today and a big test for him. And I think how he performs today will then dictate who starts against Chelsea.
I guess the other thing is we don't know if Jurgen is set on playing this particular way when the season starts. He might have it up his sleeve. When we tried it, maybe I don't want to go with it. We don't yet know if he's set in stone on what he wants to do this season with the personnel he's got and ultimately the personnel he may end up with.
Well, I don't think he's set in stone either. I don't think he knows quite what his best 11 is at this moment in time. As we say, that the team keep giving him problems because Darwin Núñez, every time he plays, he keeps scoring goals. So do you play Darwin Núñez as an out-and-out number 9 as opposed to a Gakpo who wants to come back, get involved in the build-up play, which allows the likes of Salah and the likes of like Jota to make these little diagonal. So there's options. At this moment in time, I still think he's very much undecided who starts against Chelsea.
Does that matter so close to the season? Or is that okay for it still to be open, for there still to be options, for us still to be guessing, and Chelsea, I guess, still to be guessing?
I think as a player, when you're in that position, I think it's good to have that healthy competition. I don't think it's ever good that players feel like they're just going to start and they haven't got that competition and to keep them on their toes. However, when the season starts and it gets going, I do think a little bit of security, allowing players to build those relationships. I never liked it, when I was playing with different strike partners or different wide players and when formations would change. And that, to me, unsettled me a little bit. So I do think that once this season starts, there needs to be a bit more consistency to allow players then to really grow into the season. But right now in pre-season, I still think it's healthy that there is that kind of uncertainty.
Guys, really appreciate your time here in the studio today. Yeah, the penultimate game of pre-season is just around the corner. And what a test it is. The defending German champions Bayern Munich with a whole host of stars in their lineup are next up for the Reds. We'll take a short break just now. When we return, we'll have all the action as Liverpool face Bayern Munich. It's live on LFC TV and LFC TV Go. We have been the only place to see every game in the Reds pre-season campaign. We're back soon with all the action.
There's nothing quite like Liverpool and Manchester United to get the juices flowing. What a lovely ball. And Gakpo, and still Cody Gakpo, goal! It's absolutely brilliant. Sure, only half away, goal! It's delight for Darwin Núñez. Lisandro Martinez is the defender. Salah's doing it one way, then the